So it's another day at the orchard, and guess what I'm working on today? I've had to take a step back from the weed badger work, and I'm having to work on my favorite thing. Yes, the Valdez. It stopped running. My guys were using it to move some things around the orchard here, and it started missing, and eventually the engine died and it will not restart. I put a lot of times I think that's due to clogged fuel filters, so I put 2 new filters on, and still no start on it. What I should have done probably before that was look up in the cab, because there's nothing up there that electrically works. The dash is pretty much dead when you put the key in and turn it. Nothing happens when you twist the key. The battery is charged, I do know that. So I believe this issue is electrical, and that's what I've been working on. Fortunately, I do have a service manual for this tractor. It's a PDF file that I put on an iPad and referring to it, and I've been using my multimeter, and probably I use this tool or this device more than anything else on the orchard. I've had to use it on the weed badger, I've used it on this tractor, I've used it on numerous occasions to try to chase the electric demons out of the various pieces of equipment. So just a quick review on the Valdez. Great seats, nice and clean, and just an A top rated machine that's been well taken care of. And for those of you who don't know me very well, I major in sarcasm, so what I'm really saying is it's a piece of crap. So I've already popped the hood, and to get access to some things, I did some testing with the multimeter and traced down a couple switches, and determined thus far that we've got a bad ground somewhere. And actually I've narrowed it down to, I think the cable from the battery to the starter is worn through. Not much left here as far as amount of copper wire holding this thing together. It's pretty much just a few strands left. In fact, I could probably pull this apart if I wanted to. So what I'm going to do first is replace this cable from the battery to the actually it bolts onto the starter, but it's more or less bolting to the engine block to provide a ground. And once I have that, I'll check to see if the other grounds that a lot of these switches are linked to have continuity with this one. So stay tuned. So I've installed the new ground cable here, brand new, and got it installed. I do have this green wire attached. I'm using this for diagnosis. I will take it off when I'm done, but what I do is I plug my negative or ground probe of my multimeter to this, and it's long enough. It gives me ability to get up in the cab and check different things and still reach the negative terminal of the battery. Now what I've done is check the continuity between the end of the cable there where it attaches to the engine, and I've tried to check it. Well, actually I did check it up here, and it's difficult to see perhaps, but that is a chassis ground, and it has two wires. One wire leads to the engine block, which would be supplying the ground, if you will, and the other wire goes to the instrument cluster for starting purposes. And these wires are also old and cracking, and I'm not getting any continuity between the battery and this ground. So what I'm going to do is replace these wires and with new ones, and that should get us ground set up here. And once I have that, then we can move on with finding out if there's any other problems. So it's been a few weeks since I first started working on the Valdez. I had to go out of town, and miscellaneous things kept me from getting to it. It has turned much colder since I first started working on the most current issue. So let me give you an update of where we are. So when I last looked at this, we were talking about a ground issue. So I traced some wires back, and I found that there were two additional ground spots on the engine block. So that's one of them there. I pulled that bolt and used a wire brush to clean it up. It did have some grime and some bit of rust on it. There's also one that was difficult to find, but it's back there. Again, did the same thing and cleaned that up. And so when I looked at the ground that I initially had issues with up here, I had a good continuity, or a good ground, so I was getting good ground inside the cab, so we took care of that. So with that sort of taken care of, oh wait, I want to show you something I found quite interesting. This is the dash. I had to take it apart, but this wire works with the ignition, and you can see that it was rigged up with some tape, and this was actually taped to the ignition, the key cylinder, so it was taped to one of the terminals. So the contact that we had there was intermittent, almost like a short. So that was another rig that was interesting. Okay, so let's get back to the actual problem, which was this tractor stopped running and would not restart. So with the electrical issues taken care of, where we could actually crank the tractor over, we still had fuel, or what we found is we had fuel issues. Long and short of it is this injector pump that pulls fuel from the tank and pushes it into the ejectors so that the cylinders will fire is not working any longer. It's not pulling fuel up from the tank, and it's obviously then not pushing it through to the engine. We tested that. Had a good friend of mine visiting me, and he likes to tinker with diesels. We ended up pulling this line, which goes directly to the injector pump. It's got a banjo fitting on the end. We actually dipped that into a container of diesel fuel, cranked it over, the engine over, and we're not getting any suction of fuel from this fitting. So this pump either has to be replaced, which is at least a $1,500 part, or I have to get it rebuilt. Either way, it's got to come off in order for this tractor to run again. So just another fun day with the Valdez, or funny event, I should say. So again, frustration with how things were taken care of, but you know, we'll keep spending time repairing stuff until we get something better. So please recommend the channel to your friends, comment, rate, subscribe, and I'd like to see my subscribership grow a bit, because I'm having fun sharing this. Again, that's a little bit of sarcasm, but it's definitely an adventure.